mindset shifts you need to make if you want to live a life by design instead of by default. Today, I'm super excited. It's been a long time coming, right? We've been talking for so long, for so many years. I'm such a big fan of her work and everything that she does to make a positive impact on people's lives. Today, I have something a little bit prepared. So, today's guest is someone whose energy you can feel the moment she speaks. She's an author, a transformational life coach, and a guide who helps people rediscover their worth and step into the power that they've had all along. Her work is all about helping others break free from self-doubt, heal what's been holding them back, and finally start living the life that they belong in. I'm honored to welcome to the Mindful Moneymakers, Nina Elaine. How we doing today, Nina?
I'm doing so good. That was amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's love. I'm super excited to jump into the conversation because I know that from the past conversations that we've had over the years, they've always been the deepest dives that I think I've
Yeah,
ever experienced, right? Like you've done the work, you're in the weeds and untangling them every single
every day.
day, right? Beautiful stuff. So I can't say how excited I am, but before we jump into our conversation, I kind of want to give you an opportunity to kind of introduce yourself a little bit deeper. Tell us, how'd you get started on this? Where are you now and where are we headed?
Oh wow. There's a lot there.
Yeah.
Okay. How did I get started? It has been about 15 years now that I've been consciously doing inner work.
Mhm.
And I guess, well, where did it start? Oh my gosh. It started after I graduated from college is when I really started taking this process seriously. Relationship that was not good, but
Mhm.
it taught me to lean on my own understanding and God's understanding and to dive within to see what was creating these patterns that I kept repeating over and over and over. And so that's what made me go deep into introspection. And then I discovered, I don't even think it was called shadow work at that time. I don't think anybody even had a real term other than like, medical professionals. But I dove into shadow work and then I started healing myself. And from that place, I started accessing more light from within me. And what that looks like on the outside is just somebody that's really joyful, right? And full of light. And so people would then start asking me what I was doing. And then I'd start sharing that in addition to my story. And they'd be like, how did you go from that to this? How did you go from so much darkness to so much light? And so that's how I started showing and teaching the practices of shadow work that I used. And that snowballed online, and Instagram became bigger and TikTok, especially, it snowballed. And then it built this whole movement, I guess, around self healing, shadow work, accessing light, and now where we're headed now, it's going into a whole nother stratosphere.
Come on, stratosphere.
It feels like the superstar energy, like I'm helping people access that within themselves while I'm accessing it within myself. So I feel like we're going into like superstar, supernova energy, which I think terrifies people. It terrified me for a long time, and I think aspects of it still terrify me. But I've done so much work that I've been able to embody more and more of it. But where we're headed, I just keep seeing and hearing the word superstar. So that's where things are are
Come on,
going.
superstar. Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. You're already shining bright. I'm blinding me, girl.
Oh, stop.
Blinding me. I want to kind of like take some time with it if we could, because I
Yeah.
want to, kind of pull out the epiphanies and the things that you realized, what were the clouds that needed to be cleared and how did you clear it? Like, what are some of the examples of the things that you were attracting, the things that you were unhappy with, and how did you kind of overcome those things,
Wow,
if you
the
don't mind?
epiphanies, so many.
Yeah.
I would say one of the biggest ones, I think the overarching biggest one is that you create your reality. And we say it. One of my best friends says that she has like a saying that she's always, whenever I'm in a funk, she's always says, you create your reality. What you think is what you create your reality. And that knowing, there's so many layers to it, there's so many depths to that, because we know it on a surface level, but when you really get into the energetics of it, you start seeing your entire reality very different. You start seeing
Mhm.
the job that you have, the car that you drive, the house that you're in, the partner that you have, the friendships that you have. Everything starts revealing itself as these patterns are just belief systems that if I were to rewire, it would change my perception of this person or of this job, or change, remove them completely or replace them with something else. So you start to really reprogram your entire life. And when I realized that, I started practicing. with it.
Mhm.
And I thought, okay, if I really have control over at least some of this, let me try to do the work around this particular aspect of my life, let's say relationships, and then see how it affects other people. So I played with it. I played with it with family members. And I would reframe through, let's say I did equine therapy, which I loved, right? And I would
Right.
focus on one specific family member and my relationship with them. And the horse, if you guys have ever done that, the horse will take on the energy of that person. It's very, very weird. And
Mhm.
then I would work through whatever I had with that person. And then I would see the shift in my relationship with that person in real time
Mhm.
because I had shifted and I had used that medium to shift it.
Mhm.
So I was seeing it in real life with partnerships, with jobs, with my career in entrepreneurship, with everything. It was always just a mirror.
Mhm.
Everything mirrored it back. So whenever I'm having a moment in my business, because as business owner, you know, and I know there are seasons, there are valleys, and there are, yes, there are a lot of valleys, but there's also a lot of, high points.
Mhm.
But whenever I'm in a valley, that's where I, instead of going into a depression or into a state where I feel like this is worthless, I start questioning. I start asking
Mhm.
myself questions in a way to spark something. So I start saying, okay, what is it that I'm feeling right now? I get really raw about my feelings and then I let myself feel them. And then I say, okay, let's work with them to
Mhm.
transmute into passion because I can take passion and then I can use that for something and I can have that catapult me up the scale, the emotional scale. So I take anger or rage or hatred or whatever, and then I actually transmute it through the process of alchemy. And then I allow myself to bring me up into joy and passion and all those beautiful things we love to feel.
Mhm.
But we don't always realize we also have to be able to access the other side.
Mhm.
We also have to be able to feel the other side. We can't just numb ourselves out to everything below boredom and think
Mhm.
that, okay, well now I'm just these higher emotions.
Mhm.
No, it's not the way it works. The more depth you have, you can access that full scale, which is the goal. That's the
Right.
human experience. You get to feel it all.
I love that. I love that, and it's so eye opening. Were you complete? I felt
Yes,
like
I was
something was
complete.
coming out.
No, I mean, there's always something with this. When you say epiphanies, there's always something. But that, I
Yeah.
feel like that, if I were to sum it all up, that's what it really comes down to is that you get to control, at least to the degree a human can, your
Mhm.
reality. And once you realize that and you go deeper with those layers, I mean, I think that's the ultimate realization, the ultimate epiphany.
Right. I think one thing that stuck out to me, right, was this idea that instead of resisting, right, the uncomfortable emotions that you feel, you can extract power from them. You can use the energy to, level up in your life. I think that I wanted to echo that because I think that a lot of people get that wrong, right? And it's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good. Anger, guilt, shame, all of these things, right? And they try to bury themselves from it. They try to distract themselves from it. And then they miss out on the beauty of being able to use it to propel you to
Yeah.
that next level. uh Easier said than done, though. Could we speak
Yeah.
kind of into like what is it like to sit with a difficult emotion and then alchemize it into something
Yeah.
that will benefit you?
Definitely easier said than done. Definitely easier said than done. So I've had a lot of practice this year. So
Mhm.
lucky for everyone listening, I've had a ton of practice because I've deepened my practice so much more than I even knew was possible. So I explained this actually to one of my clients recently. Sometimes when I'm in one of those lows, what I will have to do is spend a day, an hour, however long it takes for me to sit and do somatic practices. So, for those of you that don't know what somatic practices are, they're just practices that are body based that help you to move emotions. So, one of my favorite is tapping, EFT tapping, where I'll sit and I'll tap on whatever is coming up. And I'll be really, really honest about it as I'm tapping and I'll allow it to flow out. Another one is breath work. Love breath work. I'm trained in it to facilitate it. That also helps to move physically those emotions from your body. Exercise, always a good one. Movement, exercise, dancing. It's been studied that dancing has a way more an effect than any kind of weightlifting ever could do when it comes to your mood and that and your energy. So I combine some days I need them all. Some days I need to do all of them. Some days I just move and I'm ready to go. And now my energy, like yesterday, I just moved and my energy was great and I was ready to go. But there are days where something is sitting so heavy on me that I need a little extra. And we can never discount relationships. We can never discount talking to somebody that cares about you and loves you, your therapist, your best friend, your mom, your dad, whoever it is. When you combine all of those things and that's a part of your daily life and daily practice, it will become more, I don't want to say easy, but it will be a simpler process through it. So whenever I have a day, because we all have them, the first thing I do is ask myself, what do I need? What do I need right now? And then I allow myself, my body, my heart to answer. And then I give myself that thing. And it's not a guarantee that, okay, I do this thing and then I'll feel better. But I know I'll be a step closer. And so I always look for the next step. So when it's breathing, when I feel like I can't take whatever's happening, I take a deep breath. Sometimes I can't. First time, second time I take one. When I get that deep breath, I always say, good breath. I always reaffirm myself, good breath, because that means I could do it again. And if I could do it again, I could add on one extra thing. Maybe it's a lion's breath, or maybe it's some hot bay, or maybe it's something else. And then I say, okay, I'm a step closer. I'm a step closer. And then by the end of the day or the end of that time period, I realize states. But I talk myself through that process so that I can see and feel the difference. I don't give myself unrealistic expectations as if, okay, I do this one thing, I scream it out, and now I'm just better. No, I'm not 100%, but I'm definitely a little bit closer to where I want to be than I was before. So having goalposts, having little things, little celebratory moments for yourself to say, hey, that helped a little bit, which is helping, they're not helping at all. And now I get to go to the next step, a little closer and a little closer. So yeah, it's my process. And what I also help my clients with is being really gentle with yourself, being really compassionate with yourself as you go through the process, especially when really big, really heavy things have happened. I'm a death doula as well, so loss of life, loss of identity, all those things. It's going to be a daily process, and grief is a part of life. Dealing with hard emotions is a part of life. And when you integrate it and you don't distance yourself from it, you'll notice you have a more colorful, more fulfilled life overall.
I love that. So many things that are jumping out to me. I think that treating yourself like somebody you love is amazing, and I think that it's kind of I'm losing the word. Come on, word. Let's do
I'm back.
it. It's not something that you kind of jump to, first. It's I want that word, but I'm not gonna get it, so it's okay.
I'm back.
But it's not something that people think of off the top of their mind is to like actually speak out loud. I think that a lot of us we rely on our inner voice and that inner conversation to get us to that place. But until it's tangible, until it's something that your ears actually hear, I think a lot of the times our brain doesn't really treat it as it's real. So treating yourself and speaking yourself, talking yourself through these things, I think is tremendously important and is a major reminder to myself. Another
Mhm.
thing is breathing, right? We forget to breathe. And one thing that I've done, on my journey was I trained myself to whenever I hear the word or see the word breathe, I take a
Mhm.
deep breath. So you
Yeah.
have me breathing over here.
I saw you.
And there's
Oh, I love
and
it.
there's never a bad time to take a deep breath, but it's so easy to forget. And so I'm grateful for that reminder for myself and anybody listening right now. If you're hearing the sound of my voice, take a deep breath on three. One, two, three. Don't you feel better?
Yes.
It doesn't matter. Even if you're not feeling bad, you're going through life and it's fine. It's just a really good reminder to kind of relax your shoulders and be grounded and get back in the moment. Another thing that you pointed out that I think is important to echo is the questions that you ask. I
Mhm.
think that questions get us a lot further than statements ever would, because a statement typically ends at that period.
Mhm.
Like, this is it. This is the total flexibility that I have. This is my belief. This is what we're dealing with. But a question kind of allows you to open up and explore what is available to you. And I think a lot of people would benefit from that mindset and that perspective of I don't know. So
Yeah.
let's find out, you know and um, asking yourself specifically what it is that I need, I think is another tremendous point that you brought up, because I think a lot of us don't feel that we deserve anything. So we don't bother to ask,
Yeah.
right? So being intentional about what do I need and allowing what comes up I think is tremendous. Is that how your clients experience their breakthroughs, or are you one of those coaches that just tell them what what to feel, what to think?
No, I think honestly what got me into coaching was my curiosity. I was always
Mhm,
curious. And so the only thing that I will say, I think, in a statement to a client is if they say, I don't know, I will say, you know, let's find out.
mhm,
Let's access it together. That's the only statement that I will actually say. But outside of that, I will allow you to find and come to your own knowing, because that's my job, is to guide you, not to tell you, not to dictate to you, not to play God to you, but to allow you to access your own inner structure, your own inner voice of God, so that you know that it's for you. It's not coming from me so that you can question, maybe she has bias, maybe. No, it's coming from you to you. It's a love letter from you to you. So yeah.
mhm,
And another practice that I've love and teach and use is just speaking to your inner child as if it was outside of you, as if he or she were outside of you, and not just for a one-time exercise. This is a lifelong connection. So you're always speaking to, every day I'm speaking to my inner child, every day I'm talking to her, every day asking her, how are you?
mhm,
As if she's her own person, right? And then if she says, actually not good, I say, okay, why? What's going on? And
mhm.
another practice that I add in for my, sorry about the dog,
No,
my
it's all good.
my clients that are working through relationship issues, is I work with women in that way. I have them speak as if they are their own partner, as if they are the masculine. So I have them put a voice to their masculine and have a whole conversation with their masculine through their own mouth.
Mm,
So you'd be surprised at the breakthroughs that come through from that. And it's a personal practice that I used and still use, and it's something that my female clients find a lot of joy in, and find a lot of epiphanies come from that, from
mhm.
their own mouth, which is what I love to see.
Yeah, we love that. I'm just picturing you talking to a little you,
Yeah.
right? I did an exercise like that before where I did like timeline jumping, and you zoom out and then you go back to a time in your life where you needed some support the most, and got to have that conversation and explain to my younger self why certain things were happening. And it was, transformative for real. So I know that what you do is powerful. Brought tears to my eyes, and I was never the same after that, for
Yeah.
sure. So another reminder to check in with Lil Tal.
Hmm.
you
Every
know,
day, every day.
yes, indeed. So I want and counterintuitive. That's the word that I was thinking of earlier.
Oh, it came
Yeah,
back.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not
A little top
not
right.
gonna let that go. Yeah. So dub editor. I'm the editor. Dub that work in
Look
that
at you putting
word
it
in
into
earlier.
practice.
Yeah. I want to know about your clients, right? Like, so before they work with you, what type of person is the perfect person to seek out support from Nina Elaine?
She has changed. She has evolved over the years. And that's what I love about this work, is that it's so expansive. It is a living, breathing question mark. It's so expansive. So the answer I would have given you 2 years ago is very different than today. Today, the women that I am working with are usually pretty well off, successful women that kind of have the structure piece down, but struggle with the flow. So they struggle to access that creative genius side of them that really wants to expand again, like a supernova, like a superstar, right? There's a limit that we believe that we have. We all have that glass ceiling that we think, okay, I can't go above this. This is my cap. And my goal is to help that woman that has already broken through so many different ceilings to say, hey, you can also do this, but this one is like you and your inner child are going to take this journey together. You and all the limiting beliefs that you had, we're going to take this journey and we're going to unravel them along the way as you become this superstar version of you, whatever that looks like, whether it's artistry, whether it's you're the best author, whether you're the best nail tech, whether you're the whatever it is that you do in your life. I want you to tap into that genius side of you that the logical mind cannot understand, and it's really not its place to understand. I want you to tap into that scares you a little bit, and let's expand on that.
Mm,
Let's become more courageous. So this woman, no matter how old she is, no matter her race, no matter those things don't matter, is if she's reached a point where She's ready to tap into the side of her that scares her. There's a reason why we love artists, musical artists specifically, because they tap into something that is ethereal, something we can't touch, but we can
Mm,
feel. So everyone has that ability to tap into that artist, but most people dim that down because they think that's reserved for the special people, the
mm,
people that are gifted in singing or dancing or writing or whatever. And I'm just normal. But we all have the ability to tap into that and bring that genius into our work, whatever the work is. So that's the woman that I'm working with now. That's the person that is attracted to my work now. They have that seed that's inside of them that wants to be watered, and they're aware of it now. And now they just want to know, is it okay for it to be watered? Is it safe
mm.
for it to be watered? Am I allowed to water it? Yes. Yes. It's there for you to water it. And that's the work that I'm doing right now.
I love that. And I know somebody listening right now is they can't wait to actually have a conversation with you. What can that person expect? What is it like to work with you?
Hmm. Well, I've never been on the other end
Yeah.
other than my inner child.
Mm,
But from what I've heard from my clients is that it really, I'm such a person that is one to one. I love groups, but I
mm,
love one to one more than anything because it allows me, I'm a human design projector for those that are into human design. It allows me to kind of be an energetic surgeon where I can look deeply into you. And our goal as projectors is to penetrate someone's energy, right? But with consent, of course.
right. Yeah.
So
Consent is
when I
sexy.
have that, when I have consent's important. When I
Mm,
have that consent, and when it's so lasered on just you, I become the mirror, and I'm able to reflect back to you exactly what you need to see in the language that you need to hear it in. So
mm,
it's really energetic surgery, and the person is going to experience it very differently from the next person because what I do with them is going to hit them differently because it's so custom and so tailored to what they need based off of who they are, their energetic design, what they respond to. So it's going to look different, but I will say my goal is always to allow you to see you better and for you to access that kind of same ability to see the reflection, right? So for you to access your knowing that I create this reality. That's my goal. So it's going to look different for everyone.
right.
It's going to show you you as clearly as ever, sometimes too clearly.
We love that. We love that. What's on the other side of working with you? So, like, I know results vary, right? It's never the same for everybody. But what has working with you allowed other people to do, feel, see, experience? What can they? What? Well, I would just leave it there. That's a good enough
Yeah,
question,
yeah,
right?
that's good. I mean, of course, it varies across the board. I mean, I've had clients call in five figures, books, relationships. I found one a husband. I mean, all the things, right? So it
Mm,
varies. But I will say that on the other side of it, you're going to view your world differently. You can never, it's like when you see something that you can't unsee,
mm,
when you know something that you can't unknow. Like once you know how to read, now when you see words,
right.
you can't help but to read it. So you're going to go from a more black and white grayscale, maybe even sepia existence to a
Mm,
colorful, vibrant rainbow existence that you can't unsee now. When you see the color red, when you see the color blue, you can't unsee it.
right.
It's there now because you know what it is. Your eyes have witnessed it. When you taste something you've never tasted before, you can't untaste it now.
Mm,
So you're going to move through your life knowing that you have access to this colorful world of emotions that you can use in whatever way you want and harness to create. And on top of that, you're not only going to be able to know that, but you're going to have the tools. You're going to know how to, when you feel yourself sliding back into grayscale, how to come back into color because you have all the tools that you need and you know the ones that work well for you. Everything is not for everyone, right? What works for me may not work for you when it comes to somatic practices, but you will have so many tools and so much access to that knowledge that you'll know exactly what will work for you to bring yourself back into that world of color.
mhm. We need that. We need
Yeah.
to lighten it up.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Okay. So
Mhm.
tell me a little bit, Nina, about like some of the biggest challenges that you kind of see in your practice. Maybe some things that you had to overcome personally, or you've seen clients go through. What are some of the biggest uphill battles that you've seen?
The mind, mental chatter. Because my work is such the accessing of emotions
Mhm.
is afraid. It's based on fear. So when I'm working with someone and myself as well, where I'm trying to access the raw, pure potential fire energy of the emotion, and then the mind gets in the way. It blocks, it puts up like a block, like a wall. And it's very logical and it's very smart. So the mind will give you logical reasons as to why this doesn't make sense, or this is stupid, or this won't work, or whatever. You're not good enough. All those limiting beliefs of the mind will start to get really, really loud. That's the biggest challenge, because you can only go as far as your mind will let you. And if your mind has this big block up over your emotions, you won't be able to access them. So allowing your mind to be more malleable, allowing your neural pathways to be restructured, and giving yourself that space to even let yourself hear these things but not believe them.
Mhm.
It's a practice, right? Rewiring your subconscious is a practice. But when you stop becoming afraid of the mind and you stop living in fear, then there's more space for you to hear the voice of your heart, for you to hear the emotions a little bit louder, and also to not be afraid of those either, and to let them move through you, because we're channels. They move through us. They're not meant to be stuck. When they get stuck is when we have disease and when we have all these things that aren't meant to live in our body. They take hold here because they have nowhere to go. But if you allow them to flow through you and know that they are not you, you are just a vessel, then the challenges disappear. Then it becomes easy. And even if you experience moments of that, you will still have moments of stagnation. You will still have moments where something congeals a little bit too much and you have to move through it. So the mind is the biggest challenge. It always has been, because we construct our world. All of the structure and all of this is from our mind. All that ceiling, that glass ceiling, is coming from our mind, because heart knows, God within us knows that there is no limit. Limit doesn't exist. But if our mind tells us it does, it's a very, very convincing servant, a
Mhm.
very convincing servant. So we have to
Mhm.
remember that we are the master over the mind and the emotions. We are the master.
That's
But that's a challenge, I would say.
let's go. So I'm hearing that the goal, the ultimate goal, seems to be a undying love and appreciation for ourselves, right? A really strong, healthy relationship with ourselves. And what's in the way of that relationship is also ourselves, right?
Good
We
right
have
there.
to overcome us to get to us. And
Mm,
it's, I don't know if I don't know if that's profound. It sounds profound, right? But it definitely feels true.
mm,
One thing that I found interesting, right, was how society has done such a tremendous job at distracting us from the most important thing in
mm.
our lives, which is us. And we're never separate from ourselves, but
Yeah,
sometimes it can feel that way. And I just thought that it was really like you've got to be a mastermind to be able to do that, to distract you from you.
yeah,
And for years, right, that's where the conversation stopped for me. But recently, I realized that the reason that society has been able to do that is because that's what we want.
hmm,
We welcome it. We look for distractions from
yeah,
ourselves. And I only recently, what?
yeah,
Yeah, I want to avoid these feelings. Therefore, I
yeah,
go to TikTok, and society is just providing me a service of
yeah,
distracting me from myself. So I think that we need to have a conversation around the desire to separate from ourselves, right? And I think that is just rooted in uncomfortability and just not wanting to feel those feelings. Is that what you're seeing too?
yeah. That was such a beautiful way of describing it. And also, again, like a reframe, because we tend to see these things as bad. And it's just fulfilling a service, fulfilling a need, right? I used to work in advertising, and that's why it's such a big industry, one of the biggest in the world. Marketing and advertising is because if you convince people they're separate from themselves, they will pay anything to get back there, or pay anything to keep it that way. So when you understand human nature, like fundamental human nature, you know that we love desire. Humans love desire. We love chasing things, wanting things, desiring things. And desire is not bad in and of itself. It's just what's your relationship to it. But what you brought up is such a big point, is that we like it, we welcome it. We love having that separation, that space between us and our emotions, because then we don't have to face them. And then we can blame whatever, let's say, disease manifests on something else. And then guess what? They have something to sell us to fix that too. So it's this consistent cycle of, if you keep avoiding yourself, you're going to stay in this matrix almost of needing something to satiate. But when you actually self source, when you actually let yourself be the source and you actually let yourself feel the emotions, that's the real work. When you actually let yourself feel the emotions and you move them through you, and you can use that skill set and teach it to others or use it to help others regulate, now you have something that money can't buy. And you have something that we've always had as humans in society, that we always knew and we just started to forget. But again, did we want to? There's a lot of questions to be asked. that
Right.
that's the work that I teach, is getting back to the true intelligence.
Yes, indeed. And I think that's an important question. Forgive me if I look over here now because my screen over here just died.
Okay.
Yay!
We love
Hey,
technology.
technology. Yeah, so I'm not like looking away. I'm actually looking at you on my computer screen right
Okay.
now. But I think that, yeah, acknowledging that we've been desiring separation for so long and finding the courage to say, hey, we need to change direction and I need to desire connection. Come on,
Mhm.
Bars. Let me write that down. We need to change direction. I
Mhm.
need to desire connection.
Connection. That is a bar.
Yeah,
Bar.
come on, Bars.
I love that. I love that.
Uh, and but it's bringing me somewhere else now too, like as it's coming up, because there's this also this conversation around motivation versus discipline, and people kind of like just throw motivation to the side. You need to be disciplined, and I think that there's some truth to that, but I also think that there needs to be a desire, like even if you don't want to go to the gym, right? There is a desire to be healthier, to be fitter, to be more mentally clear, or whatever that case is, that creates the discipline of doing the hard things, right? You may not want to wash the dishes, but you want a clean kitchen,
Right.
right? So I think that there's not enough conversation around creating desire or tapping into a why.
Mhm.
Why would I do this? And also accepting the fact that if you don't have the why, right? If you don't have the motivation, then you can let the thing go. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Right. Um, yeah, I just haven't had that conversation. These are just things that I've been thinking and feeling that are just coming up
You know what?
sporadically right now.
That makes me think of one of my favorite words ever. And I believe it's the baby between motivation and discipline: devotion. I
Devotion.
love the word devotion because I feel like it's that middle ground, that marriage between motivation, which is like pure, raw, I believe, feminine essence, and discipline, which I believe is solid, structured, masculine essence. The baby they make, in my opinion, is gonna be devotion, because devotion, it pulls a little bit of the motivation and pulls a little bit of the discipline, and the way it shows up is a natural desire, even though you know it's going to take something a little bit hard. But
Mhm,
that natural desire piece of it. So when you bring them together, you have devotion. As much as I personally enjoy working out, there are days that I don't want to work out. I did a hit workout yesterday. Oh my God, it was so hard. But my devotion to the woman that I am and that I'm becoming and the life that I live and the example that I set, all those things help me to show up even on the days that I don't want to show up. I have tried the purely disciplined path because I am a highly emotionally in tune woman.
mhm,
However, I didn't like it. I
mhm,
did it for a certain amount of time, and then when I ran out of my motivation, my energy, then I stopped.
mhm,
But when I started integrating it as devotion, whatever the practice was as devotion, it felt like I was still honoring the motivation side of me without getting rid of it just for the devotion. When you see them as feminine and masculine, for some people that might make more sense. But I felt like it was an integration and it became who I was. It was a part of me now. And I
mhm,
couldn't just get with only discipline, it didn't work for me. And only motivation only goes so far. But when I put them together and I became devoted, and devotion became one of my core character traits,
mhm,
that's what changed things for me mentally and unlocked that version of me that could sustain
mhm,
over 15 plus years of working out, because I truly love me. Not just because I love it, but I love me. And
mhm.
me loves it.
Yes, indeed. Me loves it back. Me loves me back.
We got to go back to elementary,
Yeah.
before language was what it was.
For sure. And I love the way you frame that, because, yeah, there are bigger energies than just the motivation versus discipline conversation that nobody's really talking about. Like, my kids, right? They may cut out all of my sleep, take away all of my, autonomy and all types of things that aren't really fun. They don't tickle, but there's nothing that's going to separate me from them, right? And I think that when you find something that you are that devoted to, that passionate about, that committed to, then both discipline and motivation come a lot easier. But when you're operating from a lower state, maybe an empty state, maybe an obligated state is a really good way to put it, then that willpower starts to run out. But me, we talked about entrepreneurship, uh, and the ups and downs and the peaks and the valleys. But when you identify as somebody who has something to share and it is important that you do so, and that's just who you are,
Yeah.
then you don't, even if you rumble and grumble and don't, want to turn the camera on, or, whatever, you're going to do it anyway without too much conversation, because this is who you are. This is what you do. And I
Mhm.
think that that's an important reason to start working with a coach, because
Mhm.
shifting your identity isn't something that you just wake up one day. It does happen that way sometimes, but it is unlikely that you just wake up one day without having examined any of your blind spots, any of your limiting beliefs that just make perfect sense to that you're going to make the type of shift that makes you the type of person that takes the type of risk, that is the type of committed that you need to be in order to live by design. Right? So what you do is tremendously important. I hope you know that. So,
Yes, likewise,
yes,
likewise.
indeed.
Yes.
So there are people listening right now that can't wait to work with you. Tell me, what is the next step? Or the first step to getting a little bit closer to your support?
The first step I would say is to get on my email list, because that's where I mean, I'm consistent, I think, with everything, but like where I enjoy the most and have the most consistency is my email list. I love writing. Writing is my favorite thing. And to get in the world of my work, I have courses, I have programs live and pre recorded. I have tons of videos for free all over the internet, TikTok, Instagram, um, YouTube, all over. But truly, if you want to get into the world of my work, that is the easiest way, is to get on my email list and to, do a session. Let's see how you like my style. And then from there we can go. But there's so many things. I'm always coming up with something new too. That's what I love about my work, is that it's truly my brainchild. Like I have the structure to just create what I want to create. And then it can be for one aspect of life, and then I create something else and for another aspect of your life, because truly, like, worthiness and feminine power touches all aspects of a woman's life. So I have relationship things that I have done, and I have things just about feminine power, and I have books. I mean, all the things, right?
Mhm.
So whatever you're attracted to start with, I would say there. Some people have started working with me from finding my book. Other people have started working with me from seeing me on TikTok or Instagram or coming to a masterclass. So there's always multiple ways. I guess just choose your own adventure. As long as you end up here somehow, I would love to work with you. But yes, there are so many ways. I would say email list is always a safe bet, and booking a session, always a safe bet.
That's what we'll do. I'll make sure that all your links are in the description. So if anybody is feeling called to get a little bit closer to this light, feel free, jump in the ninaelaine.com. Don't hesitate. Everything, the YouTube, the TikTok, everything's going to be there. I want to bring you back, blast of the past,
Yes,
real quick,
always.
right? You remember being like the first in-person podcast guest that I
Yes,
had?
yes.
Oh yeah, we was
All
talking about technical
Yeah.
difficulties.
I remember that was when I was writing my book. I came to California, and you were living there at the time. I don't know if you still live in Cali, but you were living there at the time. And you had asked me to come on. It was so much fun. And we did have technical difficulties, but it
I
was
was
still such a good experience.
I was just a baby.
Oh my gosh, it was
I was just a
such a
baby.
long time ago.
Talk about technical difficulties.
Yeah.
So what happened was we had a magical conversation. It was really great. First time doing something in person. I usually do like virtual like
Mhm.
this, and the video just completely didn't get recorded at all.
No.
So the world never got to see it. It's been too long since we replaced that episode,
Yes.
but
Yes.
in divine timing.
Yes.
Uh,
Always. Always.
I I also would be remiss if I didn't bring up your
Oh
first
my
books,
god. And it's the
Nagahi.
original.
Yes,
The
indeed.
original.
The
Yes.
original. We here, we fans, bro.
Yes.
We go way back like rims on a Cadillac. So
Yes.
don't hesitate. I'm telling you, this is the real deal. Click the links, jump in, let's get connected. Um, okay, this has been fun. Nina, we can go on forever. Let me ask you this question, right? For anybody listening right now, what is something small, like a baby step, something they could do in the moment, right? To live just a little bit more by design instead of by default.
The one thing I would say is breathe, breath. When I started living my life and being conscious of every breath that I took, it brought such an awareness. Couldn't deny. That is the difference between just breathing to live that we do unconsciously without any thought and breath work. People ask, well, what's the difference? That's the difference. The intentional energy that you bring to your breath, because that will translate in everything else. You will notice things more. Colors will be more vibrant. You'll notice little shifts in people's energy, in your energy, when you are aware of how deeply or shallow that you're breathing from moment to moment, because life is made up of moments. So just be aware of every moment.
Perfect. Breathe.
Breathe.
Yeah, never a bad time. Never a bad time to take a deep breath. Thank you so much, Nina, for spending this time with us and shining your light.
Thank you.
I know that we are all better for having heard your voice today. And to everybody listening, as always, love, be well, and don't forget to have the guts to follow your guts. Peace. Yeah, we still doing that.